Do you want a crappy frog for yourself? Because apparently these things give people an immense amount of joy. I really don't know why, but yeah. Anyways, if you want to make one, we're going to start out with materials. You'll need a piece of paper and a marker or pencil, and you want to trace out something similar to this shape here, because that is the very distinct crappy frog shape. So, here, pause the video, copy that down, and just kind of mark out where the buttons will be. I did this on this paper, I don't know why, but it's fine. It doesn't have to, but it just keeps it track of what's the head and what's the butt. Anyways, you'll need 2 medium-sized buttons. I'm using these buttons here, these little wood buttons that I found within my collection. Something like this. So, the frog's relatively small, so if you make a bigger frog, use buttons corresponding to how big it is. I'm making another small frog. Marker, any markers will do. I just used this one here, but really a Sharpie would work. Anything that can write on any type of fabric. Of course, you'll need your sewing kit, I guess. You'll need thread and needle. And, of course, out of everything you're going to need is felt. You definitely need that. I mean, it doesn't have to be felt. It can be any type of fabric or old cloth that you find. That works as well. I used felt for this one here, but like I said, any fabric would work. I am using pink and a type of green. I meant purple. That is a purple, not a pink. I already started on this frog here. See, when you cut it out of the felt, it should look something similar to this. So let me show you how to do that. First, figure out which one is going to be your top and which one is going to be your bottom. I think this is going to be the top of my frog and this is going to be the bottom. Now you will take your frog and place it on the fabric. Place your paper cutout on the fabric. Once you have that, to keep it stable, I suppose you could probably tape it to the fabric, but not a strong tape, obviously. You don't want to take the fabric with you. You don't want it to take the fabric with it when you peel it off, because you will need to peel it off. So or a clip, like something like a paper clip will do to clip it to it, I guess. So, or if you don't mind bending your template, because you might want to take that or keep that template just in case you want to make another frog, but you can use these. I searched through the file cabinet of doom twice to try and find paper clips, but for some reason I cannot find any of them. But anyways, take your black marker, trace the frog. Alright, so I traced my frog onto the paper, and remember, these are crappy frogs. They do not have to be perfect. They are anything but perfect. So, it doesn't really matter if you have like these little mistakes or anything. And also, this is just a template. If you get anything on it, it doesn't really matter. This thing gets more ink on it every single time I use it. So, before you go and trace your frog onto this piece of felt, do not do that. Wait. Unfold your other piece of felt or fabric, and let me peel it apart. 1 second. Place your frog onto your frog sketch, I guess, onto the other felt piece of fabric. Take one of these clips, or yet again paper clips, and clip it. Yeah. You'll want to make sure that your frog outline is on the other piece of felt. I've done it before and it didn't go too well because we're going to cut this out with the other felt piece under it. So take your scissors, cut out this, and as you go on, add more clips to keep it in place. I usually cut around the frog as close as possible. Is it kind of a waste of your fabric? A little bit. Is it going to make your life a lot easier when it comes to cutting out all these pieces? Oh yes, it is. Also, cutting through 2 layers of fabric is going to kind of be hard, but don't worry, it saves you the time of cutting out 2 separate frog sheets. Plus, it really helps line the felt up when you have to sew it and stuff. Like this frog, I did the same method. Yeah, I took this frog and put it on 2 different pieces of felt and then cut both of them out separately. This one little dude took me about 4 hours to make, so this just really makes your life a little more easy, not including sewing. Well, including sewing, 4 hours, but sewing takes a long time anyway. I am not good at explaining things or talking, so please bear with me. Yet again, add a bunch of these clips, paper clips, even sewing needles work. Anything that can hold the fabric together. Just keep adding them so it keeps it lined up nice. So this is pretty much what it should look like. See, I used my sewing needle here because I got too lazy to go find other clips. But now that you have this shape, go ahead and start sewing and free it from its prison of clips and needles or whatever you have it encased in. Yeah, get out of here. So, yeah. Also, don't worry about these little imperfection things. Most likely the sewing will hide it up. Hide it up? Is that how you say that? Hide it. We'll just go with hide it for now. Struggle for a second. So, here you go. Here's your frog. Should look like this on both sides. 1 second. Ah! There we go. Should look like that and should be lined up as good as possible. Obviously now you thread your needle and tie a knot. I'm not going to show that because I'm either going to, 1, end up pricking myself, 2, drop the camera, or 3, fail entirely. So figure out how to do that yourself. Alright, once you got a good string, not too long, I would just say the length of your arm up to your elbow. Because you are not getting this done with 1 thread. So, in 1 needle thread. So, anyway, I always start right there and keep sewing up until I get to about here on both sides, and then I fold the frog inside out and then proceed to sew its face up. Having a sewing machine would definitely make the process a lot less difficult, but since I don't have one of those, and if I did have one of those, I'd probably end up making it dysfunctional in some way. Yeah, I just choose to probably just sew with my hands, I guess. Plus, I feel like it might come out more sturdy. I'm not completely sure what I'm trying to say here, what I'm actually doing. But anyway, yeah, just keep sewing, like I said, all the way up to here. And I'm gonna cut the video again because I'm not making you sit through this. This is already 9 minutes long. So I went ahead and switched frogs. I have reasoning. This one was almost done, and this one was just started. So I decided, yeah, before I make this one, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this frog here. So, yeah, that's my reasoning. Here is a pro tip for the button eyes. Start up your old hot glue gun. I mean, your guys's probably isn't old. Mine is like 40 years old. I love it. Alright, so I got this frog sewn. The only thing that is not sewn is this. If you want, you can always start at the back, or you can always start at the front of the frog and then fold it inside out at the back. That might have been a better option, but it doesn't matter. This one, I actually folded out the side. The side is sewn up weird because I took it and folded it inside out from the side. So it doesn't really matter, I guess. There's going to be one part that looks a little different anyways. When you have finally flipped your frog inside out, it should look like this. I broke a few strings, but that's okay. We can fix that easy just by sewing it. But anyway, get some stuffing, stuff your frog. We want a very fat frog, so this is probably it. Once you have him very fat and stuffed, start sewing whatever part you used to flip it inside out. Start sewing it up. Before you finish sewing him up all the way, add just a little more stuffing for the head. So here's this little dude. He's not quite finished, and he has a hole that I'll need to patch up later, which is fine. But the collection is growing. He came out a little crappier this time, but that's okay. That's completely fine. I don't mind. I couldn't get any stuffing in his legs, but if you want an easier way or it to look just like this frog, I would go with turning it inside out on one of the sides. I think that might do you better than the head. So, but you can do it really anywhere. I would say either this side or behind. Those seem to be the best two options. So, I'm just waiting for my hot glue gun to heat up now to put the buttons on because I'm too lazy to actually go sew them on. And honestly, the buttons being hot glued on, it seems kind of better than the other ones anyway. So, sewing them on. And now I can't stop laughing. Goodness gracious, my voice is dying. I cannot stop laughing at how stupid he looks. And I love him a lot. So yeah, there you go. That's kind of how to make a crappy frog. Hope you make a crappy frog because you have a forever companion to throw at things and to squish aggressively and beat up because they're fun to beat up. I think this one's still my favorite compared to this guy, even though look how stupid he looks. But yeah, crappy frogs.